Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
And I'm Shannon Penrod, and thrilled to be here with you, my friend.
Thrilled to be here with you.
Yes, it's a very exciting week.
It is.
We have a big event on Sunday.
A big event on Sunday night, Denim, Diamonds, and Stars for Autism.
Yes.
And we have one of our honorees with us this hour that we are thrilled to have here.
So excited.
Yes.
Sean Stockman.
Sean Stockman from Boys to Men, and more importantly, the founder with his wife, Sharonda, of Micah's Voice, which is a nonprofit dedicated to getting care and treatment to children with autism. So we're very excited to have him here.
Sean, proud papa.
Yes,
a really proud papa.
yeah.
And we don't get enough opportunity on this show to talk to the dads.
Right.
But whenever we do get an opportunity to, it's a really special occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And none more special than having an opportunity to talk to Sean
Right.
about his journey, about their journey.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his wife are receiving an award on
They're
Sunday
receiving
night.
the Visionary Award for what they are doing with their work. And, for someone of Sean's fame and stature to come forward.
Yeah.
And not only to come forward and say, we have a child on the spectrum. They have 3 children, and Micah is one of the twins.
Yes.
And they very early on came forward, I think on CNN, and announced that in an interview, that their son was on the spectrum. And like so many people that do become activists and advocates, they quickly said, if it's this hard for us, what's it like for others? And that is why they formed Micah's Voice. So we're going to talk with Sean about his personal story, about Micah, about their nonprofit, about receiving the award, and it's going to be
And if you guys have questions, remember that you can always be writing in your questions at www.autism-live.com. We'll be checking in to see if you guys have questions.
So before we bring Sean in, we have a couple of things in the news.
Yeah.
Autism Speaks has announced that they are giving $150,000 in prizes for breakthrough ideas in housing for adults with autism.
Yeah.
The Autism Speaks House to Home Prize.
And we know that when our kids transition from being teenagers to adults, many people call it the cliff. That there are so many few, we won't say that there's no services, because more and more there are services, but there aren't as many services. And so being able to promote and have a way to have people interested in putting their minds to some of the issues that face our teens that are becoming adults, I think is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly, I think it's a dicey thing figuring out what a housing situation can be, because like all things in our community, it can't be one size fits all.
No.
So I'm excited to see what bright minds come up with,
Mm-hmm.
and thrilled that they're being given an incentive to do that. So we'll see what comes of it. I'm certainly interested. I know you and I talk frequently about where are our kids going to live,
Mm-hmm.
and what are they going to do as adults, and where are they going to be. I tell Jem on a regular basis that he's expected to live at home. He laughs at me and says that's not happening. But, I know other people who are like, no, I want to get him out of the house. We had that conversation the other day. I said, I want you to come and stay at home, but that's because you're 12 years old.
Right.
When you're 17, I'm going to say, get a job.
Right.
Get out of the house.
So this prize is actually 3 prizes for 3 separate solutions. Home and residential support solutions for individuals who require 24/7 support. Home and residential support solutions for individuals who require daily support. And home and residential support solutions for individuals who require weekly support, a few times per week, but not every day. So the best original idea in each category will receive a $50,000 prize. They can be submitted as written proposals, photos, drawings, comparative examples, business plan outlets, and digital media. The submission deadline is March 1st, 2016. The judges will include people with autism, thought leaders in the field, experts, and parents. To learn more we can post this maybe on your
Absolutely.
It's herox.com. It's rather a long URL.
But you can find their Twitter at I am Hero X.
Okay. I am Hero X. That's the best place to go.
And they're also on Facebook, I am Hero X as well. All right, so check that out. We also, very excited, I haven't had an opportunity to see this documentary yet, but there's a new documentary that's going to be featured, that is being featured, called How to Dance in Ohio. We've also reached out to the filmmaker to see if she has some opportunity for to be on the show, that we're really looking forward to seeing that. But really interesting, the documentary that they did in Columbus, Ohio, had an opportunity, and it focuses on girls on the autism spectrum, an discussed aspect of our autism community. If you have an opportunity to see this, I believe it's on HBO, although my notes are incomplete. Did I give them to you, or did I just not?
Oh, I have them here.
Okay.
It's about autistic people coming of age. Her involvement began watching a friend's daughter who has autism manipulate the difficulties of growing up. She went to Columbus, Ohio, met a great psychologist, set in on group therapy sessions, realizing the trauma of them being unsure, nervous, afraid. The spectrum, let's see, it says HBO airs it Monday. But
that was this last Monday.
Okay.
So now it's in the mix on HBO. If you get
Right.
HBO, that you have the opportunity, it will be on several times, but I know I'm excited to see it, How to Dance in Ohio.
Right.
Exciting new documentary.
Okay.
We kept it short on In the News today because we wanted to save time for our fabulous guest, Sean Stockman from Boys to Men. You also know him from the Sing Off.
Oh, yeah, the Sing Off.
I love the Sing Off. We'll talk about that too. So if you have questions for Mr. Stockman, feel free to be sending those in to us live right now. autism-live.com. We're going to take a break and bring our special guest in. Stick with us.
Stockman joining us.
Hello.
Hello, Sean. We're so happy to have you here.
Good to be here.
And we're so excited about honoring you and Sharonda on Sunday evening at Denim Diamonds and Stars for Autism.
That's awesome.
Our 10th annual, and you're going to be receiving the Visionary Award because of the amazing work you have done just with autism awareness, with your own personal story, and with your foundation, Micah's Voice.
Yeah.
So good to have you here.
No, it's great to be here.
And
It's a thrill for us.
for
Yeah,
any
thank
of you that have been living under a rock for the last couple of decades, Sean is a multiple Grammy Award-winning musician. He is 1/3 of Boys to Men, who happens to be the best-selling R&B group of all time, with over 60 million albums sold. And your wife, Sharonda, she is a film producer who also worked in the music industry.
Yeah.
Is that how you all met?
Yes, actually, I met her at an award ceremony, and she somehow ended up working with us, and that's when I guess the rapport started, and the rest is history.
Okay.
Big happy family now.
Yeah,
And
very much.
And so, when were you and Sharonda married?
2001, September 1st.
Okay. And then in 2003, your twin boys, Micah and Ty, were born.
Yes,
Okay.
May 30th.
Okay. And tell us about when you noticed the changes in Ty and Micah that what tipped you off that there were changes going on with Micah?
Well, it was a little after they turned 1. It was right after I guess we had some vaccines or whatever, and after their birthday, we started seeing Micah kind of slip. Like
Okay.
he was honestly the first to talk. He was the first to walk.
Right.
He was the first to do everything, and we were more worried about Ty than Micah because he was developing faster than Ty. And after 1, it went backwards, and he just started to slowly dip, and started to have no vision. Like he kind of lost his eyesight a little bit, in the sense of he wasn't looking at anybody. He was kind of staring into space and kind of in his own world, and he was doing a lot of peculiar things. And my wife was like, something is wrong with him. Something is wrong. And I was like, no, he'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
He'll grow out of it. He'll grow out of it because being a dad, you never want anything to be perceived as wrong to your heir apparent. It's like, it's my son.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
my
So,
son.
yes.
As Rodney Peete wrote, "Not my boy," in
Yeah.
the title of his book, and
Yeah.
was really honest about that.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
It's a really common tale what you're describing,
Mm-hmm.
that somebody starts to see something, and that I think it's so important for all of our viewers to know, because they think that they're the only family that they're not on the same page, and yet
Yeah.
I don't know a single autism family that was on the same page about what was going on
No.
on any day.
You never
on
are.
the first day, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because you're both trying to figure out what's wrong.
Yeah.
And in the midst of it, you're trying to figure out what you can do to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of the frustration, and the focus lies strictly on that child, and you're trying so hard to just find answers, and it can get frustrating, and with a married couple, it can get a little stressful too, because you tend to not really think about others so much, because your focus is 100% on that particular child.
Yeah.
So, it gets a little, some people, in some cases, the wife might feel neglected or the husband might feel neglected, and then you have that strain, and, it takes its toll on the marriage itself.
Yeah, there's a lot of chaos going on.
Oh, yeah.
And I know in my situation, Sean, the fact, I think we both talked about both. My son Wyatt also was rapidly developing. He met all his milestones
Awesome.
that first year.
Awesome.
Right? And so sitting up, rolling over, sitting up, standing, walking,
Yeah.
talking. And that, I think, makes it harder to see, well, what's happening now? And you think, well, that child was doing so well, and what's going on? And it almost makes it, if we knew from the get-go, of course, if our child didn't sit and walk and talk from the get-go, we would probably be at the specialist office right away. But then there's that tendency to wait and see they're a boy. Did you get any of that?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest plight with autism is the fact that it has no set identity. Meaning, like, for example, cancer has set characteristics.
Yeah.
You know it when you see it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You
can look at it under a
You can look at it
microscope.
under a microscope. You know what it is.
And
you know
that what traditional medicine is going
Yes.
to advocate, whether you have to do chemo
Yes.
or radiation or whatever.
Yes. The spectrum of autism, which is why it's a spectrum, is a mystery. And it's always different. And it changes with the child. Like what things that developmental issues he might have had yesterday, he might not have anymore. And then it might revert in some cases too. So it's always something different and something new, as far as certain things that's positive and certain things that's not so positive. For example, my son, who didn't have any language, didn't speak, rarely spoke.
He had
anything like
language,
that.
though, at one point.
He had language at one point.
And he lost it.
It dissipated.
Okay.
And then, through therapy and, just working with him every day, finding the right people to work with him, and finding those guys, he developed a means to talk, at least
Yes.
communicate.
Yes.
With us and with others about what he wants and things of that nature. Still not a full-blown conversation,
Right.
but at least he's talking to us. He knows who we are and stuff like that. But he's developed this new habit now of it's kind of like an OCD thing, where it's like some of the drawers are open in my house, he has to close them.
Right.
If there's a door open, he has to close it.
Yeah.
If my shades are like on the table, he has to pick them up and put them on my face. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like-
It's funny how these new things develop.
yeah,
in
that's
every
new.
way.
Like, he's never cared about
Right.
whatever was on the table, but now he's put those on. All right, here's your watch. Put your watch on. You know that type of thing. So
Micah and Wyatt sound like they're the same kid in so many ways, but like we said, there's so many differences. Let's go back a little bit though and say you noticed that he started to slip away in his second year. You know,
Yeah.
he had turned 1. He started to regress.
Yeah.
At that point, what did you do? And did you said you did have some wait and see, and let's see what's going on. How did you finally get the news, and who finally gave it to you?
And I want to know, how did Sharonda get you off of the river in Egypt denial?
Well, right. Well, we first went to our child doctor, and she basically said, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with him." And this is when, I guess you could say, autism was still fairly new.
Sure.
So a lot of these doctors didn't know
Right.
what it was, what the diagnosis.
This is in the
what
early,
things,
like
what the signs
2004,
were. Yeah.
2009. This is exactly my time too.
Exactly.
Our
Yeah.
time. This is all our time.
Yeah. So and my wife was like, whatever. So we went to a specialist, and
She was
at
persistent.
10 minutes, she was like, yeah,
Yeah.
Mike has
Wow.
autism.
Thank God you went
and
to a specialist.
and you know what? That's when I got off that river,
Okay.
Right.
and it was like, okay,
Hearing it from the specialist did it
right.
for you.
So again, it was tough because obviously my wife broke down. She was a wreck, and again, father, husband, caretaker mode went in, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. I don't know if I'll ever fix it, but what can I do to try and make the journey as comfortable or as less stressful as possible? So I buried myself into my work. I went and I traveled and I did whatever I needed to do to make sure that whatever goes on, that financially and comfort-wise, my family was at least okay.
And I really want the moms to hear what you just said, because I think that that's very common for the dads. You
Yeah.
said you went into that dad mode that they need to protect, and a lot of times all that you can do in that moment is bury yourself in your work and make sure there's a roof overhead.
Right.
And I think that sometimes moms look at that and think that's just you going away.
No.
But that's your way of being there.
Because the truth is that there's really nothing that as a husband or father you can say to your wife. It's really not much you can say, because she's dealing with it in a certain way too. So all you can do is try to make it as easy for her as possible. At least not arguing about taking care of what needs to be taken care of for the child or other children if you have them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to at least make sure that was okay while the emotional side was being worked out, because that is something that none of us, nobody can tell another person how to grieve. They have to do it their way.
Yeah.
So while they do that, you do whatever it takes or whatever other necessities, you have to take care of to make sure that those are straight and that she can go on eventually and say, okay, I have to do this, and now I can refocus on certain things or whatever. But, it took a few years for her to even admit to my other family members that my son had it. Like, she was like telling me, don't you tell your family.
Right.
Don't you tell, I'm not telling my family either. And it took a while for my wife to actually just be open about it. And
The shame attached. that
right,
we-
yeah. And I would even tell her, like, listen, as crazy as this may sound, God did this for a reason, okay? I said, we have to make sure that we use this plight not only to help ourselves, but to help other people. I said, if opening up might actually help other folks in this condition and in this case, because we realize just with the journey and meeting people, other parents and families with children with the condition, that it's a lot of people that are confused. They don't know where to go for help. I hate to say it, but a lot of times the state and the city provisions aren't much, and they don't give you many guidelines on how to help your child. So, it's a lot of parents that are, again, equally frustrated. And I used to talk to her and tell her, we're in a unique position. because we can actually help somebody. We can help people in a way that maybe someone else couldn't. So it took a while for her to come around.
Right.
To even make the foundation that we have, Micah's voice.
Yes.
And once she came around, she went around like she's now in it like full force, and
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
she's
she's a
amazing.
power-
She is
powerhouse.
the anchor to this whole thing.
Right.
And you know, now that she understands what we have to do, she's been at it, and it's been great so far. I mean, as far as like our strides and, you know, how many, you know, people have opened up to us
Yeah.
to want to help.
Right.
Absolutely. We're here talking with him about his journey, his family's journey, and how they discovered that his son had autism, and how they got to the point where they are at now, where you guys are, you're getting a Visionary Award this Sunday from Denim and Diamonds and Stars, because you guys are not only doing great things for your family, but doing great things for the community. Which
That's
is
really
truly
wild
amazing.
for me, honestly, because we didn't get into it for that. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I mean,
Of
it's
course you
it's
didn't.
great that we're honored, obviously.
Wow.
You know, by the
You deserve
by
it.
the. Thank you. And honestly, it's like one of those things where it's like, first of all, it's one of the few awards that I've received that had nothing to do with music. So that's a great thing. And then, you know, it's just nice to know that people are watching,
Yeah.
and people are seeing, you know, what we do, because honestly, it does help in a sense of just the cause that we're fighting, you know, for.
You're making a
and-
difference.
Yeah,
And you're inspiring people.
and that's all we wanted to do.
Yeah. Today, you
Yeah.
don't know whose life you're going to touch that's going to hear this broadcast and say, I'm not alone. And if Sean Stockman can admit to these things
Oh, yeah.
and take them on and be honest, then I can too. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about that during the break. And you talked about a moment when you were on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that to our viewers? Because we think it's so important for men and couples to hear.
Yeah. First of all, fellas, you know, guys out there that's watching, understand that, you know, I get it, and I understand being a father to a child with autism is tough, and because we're men, a lot of times we're not good at expressing our emotions. You know, we just don't do that. You know, we're guys, so it's like, and especially when we see, you know, our wives going through so much hurt and grief, you know, we have to be the ones that, you know, stick our
Buck
chests
up.
out, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and that type of thing, just to keep things going. But there are moments where we break down, whether privately, whether in front of our significant others. But, you know, there's a moment where, you know, like I said earlier, you know, I embellished in the work and just tried to do as much as I could to make sure that the provisions were taken care of for my family. But, you know, there was a moment where I would call my wife and I'd cry my eyes out, because there are moments where it becomes so overwhelming for me, because you never know if this is ever going to change. And I was just having a conversation actually with a stranger on a plane a few days ago about this, and how all I want is to know that when I'm too old to do the singing thing or move around and things of that nature, that my son and my kids are taken care of, that they are okay. And which is why I work so hard, and we do the things that we do, because it'll break my heart to not you know, just to make sure that he's all right.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make sure he's all right.
And I think that's everybody's wish.
It's every
That
parent's.
all the moms, all the
Now I'm
dads.
falling apart here.
But I know we're all misty here.
You're just
we
so
have lots of
eloquent,
plans.
Sean,
Yes,
and
you are.
honest, and to hear it is so important for
Yeah.
moms
Yeah.
and dads, and we all are a tribe now, right?
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
all,
for sure.
We are, we're an autism nation, and there's so many, we have so many kids and young adults and adults out there affected by this, and as we know, it's a total family.
Yeah. Dads, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to let those frustrations out, healthfully.
Right.
Absolutely.
To be able to, let out a tear and things of that nature. It doesn't make you any less of a man or anything like that. But, it's your child. So emotionally, you're already connected. So it's okay to let those things be known and to express those things. It makes the bond stronger, and it allows you to breathe a minute, because it gives you an understanding of how much you love your kid. And again, with men and our just innate just notion to want to protect, we don't have those moments a lot of times. And it's crazy because the dynamic of the husband and wife plays a part, and sometimes everybody takes this on different.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is that you stay together first and foremost. This is where a marriage becomes what it should be about, and it's a friendship. You have to look out for your friend, and you want to be there for your friend. That friend being your husband or your wife, whatever the case may be. And from both sides, husband and wife, you have to understand what each person is going through and how they go about dealing with it. To the women, if first of all, if your man is still there, because there's a lot of divorces because of autism and men just not wanting to deal with it and leaving.
And
we've heard of these situations.
Absolutely.
So
And Sean, at Act Today, so many of the families we give grants to are single parents, and women leave too.
yeah,
Sometimes
right.
it's the dad,
right.
and grandparents left
Yeah.
with these children. And I
Yeah.
think that's a really important point to bring up, that please stay together.
Yeah.
It's an
Because this is what-
opportunity to get closer.
Yeah,
It's
it
an
is. It
opportunity
really
to
is.
really, like you said, this is what marriage is all about.
Yeah.
And in many ways, having a child with autism and having the challenges of unconditional love is what parenthood is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? There are there's so many great things that come with a child having this condition, believe it or not. One, again, you look at your partner, and I have a saying, and I believe that you never know a person until you see them fight or if you fight them. That's when you really know them. Mm-hmm. And when you see your partner fighting with a tenacity that you've never seen before, you can't do anything but respect that person. Yeah. So that is a developmental thing, in the relationship.
Uh-huh.
And then two, honestly, I would have probably never have cared, to be honest, if my son wasn't affected as much as I do now. And it allowed me to meet people like yourselves and other caring people. Like, I've met some of the most beautiful people because of this situation, that, again, it's unfortunate, and it's one of those things where it's a burden, but you reconnect with that sense of humanity that you didn't think ever existed by meeting folks like yourselves and other like-minded human beings that you're like, oh my God, like, people really give a crap, and they don't have to. Like, that's a blessing to actually see that, because you just don't know a lot of times, and we go about our lives just living them and not understanding what plights a person walking down the street might go through. This opens that up. It gave me a bit more compassion to the human condition than what I may have had before, because I can relate now. Yeah. I can see a person that's going through something and they can see that I can relate and it's a connection. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And with that, even that kind of is a feeling of hope, of help, to know that I am not by myself.
Right.
I'm going through this, but I see other people that I can take from as far as strength and a level of just understanding where I'm at.
One of our viewers wants to know, do you go to your son's IEP meeting?
Yeah.
And I love the way you say that with that, like, of course,
Yeah.
that's, where else would I be?
Yeah, I mean, I block out time from my schedule to do it. That is, if it's not already set in stone that I have a show or something like that.
Yeah.
But, my wife and I talk about it. I mean, and she makes sure that, Sean be home for, this and
Right.
that. I'm like, okay.
But
Yeah,
you're there.
absolutely.
You're hands-on.
Absolutely.
We love that.
Absolutely.
And so you kind of touched on this a minute ago, but somebody wrote in and said, incredible interview. Thank you for being there for us and for creating something so beautiful. Why do you think spiritually God let our kids be autistic? Understand it's a test for the parents, but what about for the child? And they said, thank you for sharing.
Oh, my pleasure, first of all. And you know what? My wife, part of what she was going through was because, she started becoming introspective and like wondering like what she did wrong and, what could I have done better? Why me? That whole thing. And the truth is, and it might sound a little coarse to some people, but why not you? We all go through trials. We all go through situations and stuff like that. So what makes us any better to not go through something? Our child, yes, he has autism, but I look at things from a different perspective. I look at life from a different perspective. I look at kids with autism. Yeah, they might have social disorders. Okay, so does most typical people. And then I look at the things that they're able to do, and I really consider them superhuman. Like, they don't have a deficiency of knowing how to learn. They just learn different. Mm-hmm. And as long as you understand how they learn, they not only figure it out, but they master it. Like, that's something that typical people have a huge problem of doing. So when I meet or see, people like, I always forget the young lady's name that helped the cattle.
Temple Grandin, who
Temple
Shannon was just with last week.
Yeah.
Genius.
Oh, yeah. She's lovely.
Genius. And a guy like Michael Wiltshire, who can look at something in a room or how about a city skyline, and by memory, draw, like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, they're amazing. I've met people. There was a foundation, I don't know if it's still around, but it was called the Lily Claire Foundation, that we've done a couple of events a few years ago. And we did it twice. We did it one year with some children with autism. Went back, did the same event with some of the same children, and I remember this one young girl who had autism remembered my name, remember what I had on, remember the songs we sang, the whole nine, and was like, I was like blown away, you know what I mean? Yeah. So these kids, because, they have certain things, on the surface that might seem a little odd, they're actually brilliant people. They actually have the ability to be brilliant people. So if anything, Micah has blessed me just by him being who he is, because I've seen something in him that I find, to me, amazing. Like, to see the breakthroughs that, he's gone through and done so well at doing them. Like, he's a wonder to me.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that you've done.
Let's talk about some of the things that you've done. We're going to move away from some of the philosophical into some of the nuts and bolts.
Sure.
Because people always like to know, your
what
child
have
is
you
making
done?
progress.
Yeah.
What kinds of things?
So basically, he was diagnosed around two.
Yeah.
Okay, so you finally got the diagnosis. Mm-hmm. What did you do next, and what treatments did you try, and have you been doing?
Yeah. Well, we first started with a lot of I don't know what you call them, like the drugs like the oh God, I don't want to
Some of
like
the-
misquote like, but they
I know you
weren't.
did biomedical.
Yeah, biomedical.
You did
Biome-
nutritional.
First of all, we took them off of gluten.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have they're kind of on and off about that.
Right.
Does it really work? Well, it works for my kid.
Uh-huh.
Like
Works
we've
for our
noticed
kid.
that. Like
Ours too.
yeah, we've
Gluten
noticed.
and dairy?
Yeah, gluten and dairy. No gluten, no dairy.
Yeah,
Like,
and
we've
you noticed an improvement.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Not to mention that when he passes gas, it doesn't smell as bad.
There are fringe benefits.
Yeah, right. Our fringe benefits. So with that, and we started also with the biomedical, taking them off of the gluten, chelation.
Yes, you did so ridding the body of heavy metals.
All the metals
Right.
and things of that nature. And as we went on,
So you must have worked with a biomedical doctor.
we
in
did
the
it
field.
first, and then we didn't really like how it was changing Micah. It started changing his personality.
Right.
Like it just wasn't him. So we took him off that and went to more natural supplements.
Okay.
And which is what he's on right now.
Okay. So he takes some vitamin supplements.
Vitamin supplements and herbal supplements and
Okay.
things of that nature that's helped him focus,
Yeah.
helped him, keep his personality the way that it is.
Right.
And let me see, we
And
did
then
that.
what about
and
some
we
of
also
the other
have
interventions in terms of behavior therapy?
yeah, we have
ABA,
behavior therapy, ABA,
speech.
speech.
But
we
a
work
very
with,
special. You work with a woman who's going to be
yes,
giving you the award, Sharon
Hensel
Cohen.
Yep, and
who-
Andrea Watkins.
And Andrea Watkins, who is a fabulous tutor that we know.
They're awesome.
So these are professionals that work specifically with children on the spectrum.
Yes.
In terms of their speech deficits and
Yes.
their language deficits.
Exactly. And Sharon has a very interesting way of doing it. She does metronome, where she has this device where the metronome kind of tick tock tick, and it helps with his cadence
Okay.
on how to speak.
Instead of
and
that
when to
robotic
right.
cadence, it
Yes.
gets the more natural.
Yeah, it makes it more natural
Excellent.
because. And now
You're gonna have her on the show.
and
Yes.
now he duplicates it where she says, I am smart, and he'll go, I am smart, that type of thing where it's not so just like you said, robotic.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And that's been awesome too. Like, and not to mention, it's kind of made me realize how much Micah even likes music and things like that. So
Take after
His
his
title.
dad.
yeah, it takes after. Yeah, he loves music. He listens to certain things, and he actually keys in. Has a very nice voice, believe it or not. I didn't. So that's where we are right now. He's
Okay.
12 years old,
And what school? Public, private? How do you?
It's public.
Okay.
It's public, and
And
he's
he has an
mainstream.
IEP.
He has an IEP.
Does he have an aide?
He has an aide.
Okay, mainstream with
Mainstream with an aide, and he loves school.
And he's how old?
He's 12.
So all of our kids are almost the same age. My son's 12, yours is 13.
Wow. So
How
yeah.
exciting.
So, yeah, exactly. So and the kids love him. I think he's more popular than his brother.
And let's talk a minute about that. Let's talk just about the
Yes.
effect on the siblings. You have two other children.
Yes.
You have
his twin,
His
Ty,
twin, Ty.
and his 5-year-old sister named Brooklyn.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Now, is the 5-year-old running the house?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that it was according to plan.
That's
All
what
right.
they do.
All right. 5-year-old girl with twin brothers that are 12, she's got to be running
she's
the house.
running the whole
Okay.
place.
So that must have been difficult, though, Sean, on you and Sharonda, and with the other children. Did you ever
Yeah.
feel, gosh, we're putting so much focus
Yes.
on Micah?
Yes.
And so then there's that pressure to.
And it's the pressure to make sure that the other kids are taken care of. But Ty is such a great brother. He's the sweetest boy, and that's also a blessing too, because he loves his brother Micah. He looks out for him. He doesn't make him feel weird, or he doesn't alienate his brother or anything like that. He looks out for him in school. He makes sure he's okay. And Brooklyn's the same way. She's a little newer into the situation because she's so young.
Yeah.
But she loves her brother too, and I'll catch them sometimes holding hands while watching television, and things of nature. Like I've been fortunate enough to have the type of kids that really just fell in and just said, you know what, this is my brother. I'm gonna make sure he's okay, and that's it. So, and that was the other guilt thing too, coming from both my wife and I, to make sure that we give those kids attention too. So there'll be moments where I'll get Ty, for example, say, come on, man, we're going out. You know what I mean? We'll go out and we'll have a boys' day. You know what I mean? You know, we'll hang, you know, that whole thing, and it's just me and him. Or even with Brooklyn, come on, Brooklyn, we're going somewhere. We're just going, you know, just to make sure that they get that time,
Right.
Wonderful.
you know, with us too. So, you know, and
Amazing.
that's how we balance it.
Now we've only got about 3
Micah's
minutes
Voice.
left, so
Let's
we got to
talk
talk about
about
Micah's
the
Voice.
organization.
Yes.
And let's start with how can people? Where do you have a website that
Yes.
people can go to?
It's called micahsvoice.com.
Okay.
MICAHSVOICE.com. And our slogan is we provide hope and services for families with children with autism. And basically our goal and our mission is to raise funds. And for the record, we don't take one dime. I don't need to. You know, it all goes to the families and the kids to provide services for them, to get occupational therapy and speech and all those things. And
you've identified several practitioners, experts in the field,
Yes.
that you give grants to families to work with.
Yes,
these.
that's
Like
right.
Sharon Hensel
Sharon
Cole.
and Andrea,
And Andrea
because
Watkins,
because we use them for our child,
And they're
Yes.
wonderful.
and they're
Amazing.
awesome. So they're pretty
they're
much
vetted out. They're wonderful people.
they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing. So we give parents, children, a chance to work with them too for free.
What an amazing thing. and you, so definitely check out Micah's Voice.
Yeah.
But you brought up an interesting point. You know, you're a superstar. You do quite well for yourself. You're a great breadwinner.
You've been at the Mirage.
Yes.
The group has
Catch us
been
in
there.
Vegas at the Mirage. We're there for
Yeah.
2 years.
Yay.
We have a residency there.
A residency.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's amazing. But we do want to make sure that we say, I love quoting Holly Robinson Peete in the blog that she did a couple of years ago. She said 8 things everybody should know about autism. And number 1 is that no one can afford it. Like
Real
Oprah
talk.
can't afford
That's
autism.
right. That's right. Absolutely.
And I just, you know, as we end here, I just want to commend you for all the things that you have done. But I'm sure this was hard for you guys financially too.
Oh, absolutely. It's just like you said. It's hard on everybody. Like to know that, you know, you look at your bills at the end of the year and say, "Holy crap!" You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Yeah.
But this is one of the reasons why we created Micah's Voice. It's
Exactly.
like if we're paying for this and we're in the position that we're in, we know for sure that a family that's working 40 hours a week with kids and things of that nature at $40,000 a year or less, there's no way they can
Right. So their
afford it.
And there's
children
no
can't
shame in that.
succeed.
Right, that's right.
Like
There's
our
no shame in
And
it.
there's no shame in that. That's why Micah's Voice exists, to help those families. Like it's no problem. You apply, we vet you, we make sure everything is cool, and you know you get the services. It's really that simple.
You guys are amazing. We really want to commend both you and your wonderful wife and your
We're
family.
sorry Sharonda couldn't be here.
Yeah,
She's
she's
a little under the weather
Yeah,
after
yeah.
you dragged her to Australia.
She wanted to come.
Oh, that sounds like a hardship to me. But we're looking forward to seeing you guys at Denim and Diamonds
Denim
and
and
Stars,
Diamonds.
where you are going to be honored.
Yes, it's
The
going to be
Visionary
a
Award.
great night on the red
Excited.
carpet.
It's gonna be fun.
I just want you to know some of the people that have responded. David Foster sent in a beautiful donation in honor of you.
Beautiful.
And
Thanks, Dave.
You've got some real fans out there, Sean. I think you
really
have,
excited about it.
and it's easy to see why. After spending this hour with you, Shannon and I, you're transformational. You really are, and I just hope all families get a chance to, you know, hear this and get some hope.
We want to help. That's all we want to do. We want to help as many people as we can.
You're doing an amazing job. We thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
As we close out the show, I just want to remind everybody that we will be here live tomorrow for tomorrow's show. Tomorrow is almost an exclusive Temple Grandin Day. You brought Temple Grandin up.
Yeah.
We're debuting the video that we did with her in Texas, where we took her for a ride in a car, a la Jerry Seinfeld, going for coffee. Temple Grandin and Temple and I, we talked girl talk.
Nice.
But nerdy girl talk. We talked about television and what she watches on television. And I asked her some of the questions that everybody always wants to know, like, has she ever been in love? So we're debuting
Nice.
that tomorrow at 10:20.
Okay.
And then in the second hour, we're debuting the October edition of The Future is Bright with Stephanie Schaefer. And she also has an extensive sit down with Temple Grandin along with some other people at the recent Autism Society of America conference in Denver. So that's tomorrow. Thrilled to do that. We're hoping to get to the Fullerton Cares Comedy Night tonight, which is starring Tom Green. Watch for us on
God.
Periscope. We might be covering that then. But we want to thank Sean Stockman
thank
and
you,
give,
Sean.
Thank you.
give our best
I can't wait to see
Rhonda.
you
No,
with
for sure.
Rhonda.
Yeah, we'll see you Sunday.
On Sunday.
All right, we'll see you on
Yeah.
Sunday.
Okay.
We're all out of time. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me.
And yourselves a hug from me.
All right, bye-bye for now.